Joining me right now with her thoughts, Republican Congresswoman Martha McSally, who was at the immigration meeting yesterday that you all got to see on TV, and she knows firsthand how important border security obviously is because she represents Arizona's 2nd district right along the border there. Congresswoman, good to have you here.
Thanks for having me on, Trish.
What was your thought about that meeting?
Well, first, I was privileged to be invited. Only 22 members, both sides of the aisle, both sides of the Capitol, and I got to be in the room and a part of this very important discussion. I do believe we moved the ball forward a little bit. I appreciate the president's leadership. I've been to several meetings at the White House, and that was actually pretty typical of what happens without the cameras there, but you all got to see a glimpse of the type of the dynamic that goes on with him leading the discussion and listening to others and trying to get to some sort of plan to negotiate. The frustration, of course, is that we've heard from the Democrats that they've got to hold our funding of our military and our government hostage over this issue. The DACA deadline is actually March 5th, and our government funding deadline is January 19th. So my main point you heard with the cameras there was they should stop holding our military, our men and women in uniform, hostage over this issue because they really need some stability in their funding so they can keep us safe. After the cameras left, we talked some more, and we've come up with 4 areas that we're going to have in the negotiations: DACA, border security, chain migration, and visa lottery. And this afternoon, actually, myself and 3 of our colleagues are going to be introducing legislation we've been working on for about 4 months, Bob Goodlatte, Mike McCall, and Raul Labrador, that we think are part of the president's priorities and also the American people's priorities to address the root causes of why we even have a DACA situation in the first place and address the flaws in our border security system so that we can really provide security and ensure we're not in this situation again. And we really hope to move this bill forward as part of the negotiations.
Representative, when you talk about border security, are you talking specifically about a wall, an actual physical wall?
Absolutely. Look, a border wall is a crucial part of border security. And in addition to that, we also make sure we have trained agents with the equipment they need. I chair the Border Security Subcommittee. I had a hearing yesterday focused on Border Patrol agents and what they need and what they're lacking. There's an uptick of assaults on border agents. They need some additional communications. They need some hiring and retention issues. But a border wall is an important part of it. In my district, 80 miles in southern Arizona, they used to have no barriers at all, and it was a free-for-all. Drugs were driving through, cartels anywhere. And when you put a barrier up, it delays and provides the opportunity for the Border Patrol to focus their efforts in intelligence-driven operations. And so that, combined with a good strategy, manpower and sensors, aircraft and others, are what we need for a multifaceted approach in order to finally secure our border. And I'm glad we finally have a partner in a president that has the will, the willingness, and the desire to make that happen for the people that I represent.
Let me back up there, because there's some concern from some members of his base. I mean, I think about Ann Coulter, and I think we have the sound we could show you. She was pretty upset last night talking to our friend Lou Dobbs, and she feels like the president isn't showing the same commitment and is willing to make a deal to save the so-called dreamers, but may not get what he needs in terms of funding for the actual wall. And she wants that border security first and foremost before anything else. Where do you come out, Congresswoman?
Well, I believe that we need to first and foremost secure our country, secure our border, and make sure that our country and community is safe. And we've had a failed border security situation and strategy for a very long time. So we must produce that, and that should be our top priority. We also have flaws in our immigration system where people are turning themselves into Border Patrol. Even if we perfectly secure the border, they're taking advantage of loopholes in our asylum and unaccompanied minor, and then they disappear into America to show up for a court or not show up 5 years later. And we're going to have a DACA situation in the future. We just keep letting that happen. So our bill we're introducing today addresses these very real security issues of border security, including the wall, asylum reform, sanctuary cities, Kate's Law, E-Verify, ending chain migration, ending the visa lottery. It's a really good, thoughtful bill that prioritizes the president's priorities and America's priorities. We are willing to have the conversation about what to do with DACA recipients, but it has to be included in these very important issues that are a priority for America.
I know how much you care about your district, your state, and your country. Are you going to run for Senate, Congresswoman?
Well, Trish, we have an important announcement coming out on Friday, so stay tuned.
It sounds like a yes to me.
Stay tuned.